Dak Prescott played tremendous football tonight. You heard him if you were watching Monday Night Countdown talk about our brotherhood's been tested. But he comes out and not one, not two, but 3 touchdown passes in the first half. And Dallas grabs a big lead, and they cruise in the second half. Lamb, Ferguson, and Pickens, who had an enormous first half himself, helped lead a significant lead that, again, was nursed to the finish line. It's a 33-16 win for Dallas. We visit with Joe and Troy after every game, and Joe, your wife Michelle had a beautiful piece before the game about this Dallas team dealing with loss, trying to figure out how to channel its best efforts and energies. And I don't think any of us really knew what we would see from them, but it was focused, it was complete, and it was, I think, a compelling case that they could be a team to be keep an eye on here down the stretch. What impressed you about what they did?
Yeah, I agree with that. Troy mentioned it early that he thought they would be spirited and come into this ball game with a full head of steam and a lot of pep. And, you know, they go 3 and out, then they get a fumble, and it's like, man, what is this night going to bring for the Dallas Cowboys? Is it going to be more of the same? And then from that moment on, as you just went through the highlights, I mean, they just put the pedal down. And it was a full team effort. I think that's the biggest part. Is I think the defense looked different than it did their last game where we were there on Monday night with the faces that are back and the new faces that are brought in. Offense did what it's done when they've won ball games, put up points, and, you know, even the special teams, which they've always got an advantage with Brandon Aubrey. So it was just a full team win at the end of a long 10-day stretch.
Hey, Joe, you made the point on the broadcast. I believe the correct number is 6 different faces who were on the field on the defensive side in this game that were not in that Arizona game. And Troy, we made the point on Countdown just how bad they've been defensive ranking-wise. You add those pieces, even though the schedule does ramp up significantly, many of those games are at home. And I don't think you have to squint too hard to see that maybe they could sneak in and on the back end of that NFC playoff picture. Does that seem reasonable to you?
Reasonable
Maybe?
might be a stretch right
that's
now,
fine.
but I do think that, you know, the Raiders obviously have been struggling on offense.
No doubt.
I mean, so this was not a good test. But with that said, they're better on defense. I mean, you put Quinnen Williams on your defense, you're going to be better. And then with Logan Wilson and the other DeMarvion Overshone, he's going to be getting healthier again as he moves through and getting in better playing shape. All of that. This defense is, you know, if they just get to the middle of the pack, they can go out and they can compete against Philadelphia and Kansas City and Detroit in those games, regardless of where they're being played at. So, yeah, I mean, the offense looked good tonight. Everything did. The real tests are ahead of them, as we know. Yep. But they could certainly get on a run. I mean, you got to look at they got to get to 10 wins is what you've got to look at, and they don't have any margin for error. So this was a game they obviously had to win, and they got to win next week against Philadelphia.
I wasn't being reasonable, but I think that if they're better on defense just a bit, then it gives their offense a chance to make them competitive moving down the road.
No doubt.
We'll be moving down the road to San Francisco. We look forward to talking with you there next week. Joe, you've known this guy forever. Is there any chance we could talk him into hanging out with us? Just getting goofy.
I've been trying.
Come on.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
Really?
You know? There's a chance. I mean, there's a chance.
Hangover, wake up with like a tiger walking around in your suite.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a chance. There's a chance.
Very small. Maybe like the Cowboys playoff hopes. Very small chance. All right, boys.
Reasonable.
All right. Unreasonable. Travel safe wherever you guys are going. Right. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you,
Joe
Scott.
and Troy.
Before we do all the celebration stuff, hold that thing up. Hold on. So proud of you guys, man.
Amen.
Tough couple weeks. Dak got a touchdown CeeDee. Yeah. Dak got a touchdown to Fergie. Yeah. Dak got a touchdown to GP. Yeah. Dak got a touchdown to Flo. Yeah. All right. Marquise Bell had an interception. Okay. Yeah. And the ball was deflected by K9. Yeah. Sacks. Hey. Kenny Clark had a half sack. Yeah. Big Q had a half sack. Okay. Yeah. James Houston had a sack. Yeah. Quinnen Williams had a sack. Yeah. Osh had a sack. Yeah. Aubrey had a 50-yard field goal. Yeah. Hey, and then, Easy had a safety. Yeah. proud of you guys. Enjoy it. Shower up. Let's get on that plane.
Man, love y'all boys. Let's win and play together. We're going to rock like that for the rest of the year. Come on. Let's go, man. Family on me, family on three. 1, 2, 3. Family!
We greet you from Las Vegas, though it feels a whole lot like Dallas, Texas West as the Cowboys. This dude right here had swagoo on the face earlier. Now he's got Dak scrolling across his face as the Cowboys get the victory. Dak Prescott kind enough to join us here on set. I told Shea Gilgeous-Alexander this at the finals. I thought they were chanting SVP, they were chanting MVP. They were chanting the same thing for you just a moment ago. You played at an incredibly high level, and I'm going to ask about that in a moment. But first, the man on your shirt. Yep. The emotions of these last 2 weeks, your fiery speech to your guys about how the brotherhood was tested and how you responded. I wonder how best you could take all of what you all have processed in the last 11 days and change and manifested it into this game tonight. How do you describe that?
Yeah, I mean, we're a brotherhood. And as Marshawn, you know, he lived by one love. And, you know, that's why I just told the guys before the game, like, let's play for one love. Let's play this one team, you know. And it's an honor, you know. It's a responsibility to carry the light when someone passes, but it's also an honor. And just let's go out there and control the things that we can and play like Marshawn did. And that was just with our effort, our intensity, flying to the ball. And I think in all three phases we did that. And it was such a complimentary win and something for us to build off of.
I told you when you sat down, I thought your words, I thought Schotty's words, I thought Solomon Thomas's thoughts about processing grief, not running from it, dealing with it. I think there's a strength in being weak, not weak, but being vulnerable. That's a better word. But you all are tough men that play an incredibly physical sport. What have these days and a couple of weeks been like, allowing yourselves to sort of surrender to whatever you're feeling and then channeling it into what is required?
Yeah, it was a lot of conversations, and you just said it about being vulnerable. It's not necessarily about, oh, I'm weak, but it's about being vulnerable. Oh. And, you know, to show courage, you have to show some kind of weakness, right? Or something that you need to overcome. And it was just a time for us to gather together, right? Understand that this game, it's bigger, right? It's about life and these connections that we're making, the brotherhoods, the friendships. We've got to be there for each other, regardless, on the field, off the field. And Marshawn was such a kind, loving, sweet soul that it hurt. It hurt everybody, but we're able to, as you said, face that grief and use that as a strength for us to move forward.
It's tricky, right? We're doing a show about a game, and yet we're trying to appropriately honor this young man's memory and all that he means to you. And then when the lights go out and then the lights come back on, you have to play a game.
Yeah.
For you personally, what do you feel like was on your plate to play to the level that you did, particularly in that first half, to be not just a vocal leader but the on-the-field leader? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, for me, coming out here, this is where I have peace. This is where, you know, through my adversities and through my losses, like, this is where I heal.
And then, obviously, you guys are playing from a comfortable place, and that defense is really playing well. And I asked Troy what I want to ask you. The road gets real rugged. These are some excellent teams. Philly's coming in and big-time stages and Thanksgiving games and all the rest of it. But you're nodding your head with a smile on your face. I mean, what else could you ask for, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what you play this game. And what the position that we're in, knowing we have to go on a run, let's play all the playoff teams to do that, right? If we want to give ourselves a chance, let's go in, let's heighten this focus. We've got something to play, obviously something much bigger to play for than ourselves. Let's channel that. Let's carry the light for Marshawn, and why not? Why can't we?
I know everybody talks about a game at a time, and I respect that, but I also think you in your case, I think you have to look at the big picture and understand what's required, and what's required is to continue to do this. And I just want to close with I mentioned what Solomon said, and I thought what your coach said was amazing. He said, we don't move on, but we move forward. And I was like, wow, that's heavy and that's real. Yep. That process of moving forward while not leaving that memory behind you, how much can that be wind in your sails as you guys set out on this course?
That's huge. That's huge. And as I said, it's a responsibility and a privilege to carry that and to understand that, you know, when you're tired, when you're upset, when you're down, we've got a brother to keep playing for. We got a brother to push it for. And, you know, it's not about ourselves. It's about carrying on a legacy, a great legacy, and a great man in Marshawn Nealon. And we can do this. Why not? And like you said, it's not a one game at a time, but it's going to be a one play at a time. Focus each and every chance that we get and take advantage of our opportunities.
All right, I mentioned somewhere along the way about that emblem on your chest. It's an NFL Man of the Year that recognizes who you've been in this game, and I think a night like tonight, hearing how you led your guys that went out and played, I think that speaks to who you are as a guy. And there are a lot of eyes on you that might not have known the story, but as you guys sort of uplift the memory of a teammate and help those that are in need out there, I think it's a really important responsibility, but you're built for it, man, and I appreciate you.
Brother. Thank you. Bless.
Indeed. Dak Prescott, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan, we had a 2-hour countdown as we do every week, and we try to balance the fun and setting the table for a game because that's what we had, and yet it was framed entirely differently tonight because after Dallas played on Monday night at home and had a bye, they lost a teammate in the middle, and it's tragic and it's heavy, and they really honored him, and I think Dak, who we just visited with, really set an incredible and emphatic tone. What did you see that impressed you most about how they processed?
Well, I think the first thing was this game didn't start out the way that this team wanted to, right? You saw CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens on the sideline. There was a sack fumble from Max Crosby. This is the team that could have imploded, a team that could have said, okay, we didn't play well the last 2 games. We've been going through all of this for the last week and a half and not come out and continue to fight the rest of the game. It was his execution in the zone. It was hitting his wide receivers and giving them opportunities to get yards after the catch, and it was leadership. He said before the game that they were going to play for their brother, that they were blessed and privileged to have that opportunity, and he led that way tonight, and he also played the game in that same sort of manner with that same level of joy.
And I think we understand you frame it correctly. This Raider team has struggled, and the hill gets much steeper moving forward. But if this defense is going to play like that, it's going to give that offense a chance, I think, to win some football games and at least make them scary to deal with down the stretch.
Well, think about this. Early on in the season, wasn't that what we were asking for from them, right?
Exactly.
To at least have a competent defensive effort to pair with an offense that can be absolutely explosive.
That's before they had Quinnen and Overshawn comes back, who's a difference maker as well.
Malik Hooker is back
For
tonight,
him too,
right?
thank you.
Right, you have 2 young corners who hadn't played the entire year. There were so many players on this defense that Matt Eberflus was missing the entire year.
All right, so you mentioned that Pickens and Lamb on the sidelines to start, and then once they got out there, they were, impactful. That's an understatement. They explained afterwards what the absence was about at the beginning of the game.
George, we were told that you didn't start this game due to a coach's decision. What were you told about why?
I don't think, I feel like certain personnels are built, for the running game. We kind of knew that we could exploit them running-wise, so a lot of heavy personnel.
Man, just stepping up and playing how we play, man, do what we do. We out there for a reason, and it was fun.
What was the reason for not playing?
I'm not going in depth on that, honestly. I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Okay, so they didn't explain what it was. They were asked questions about why they weren't there. So whether we get any specifics or not, once they were out there, Ryan, they played like what they are, which is one of the very best 1-2 combos.
And Keon Coleman was a healthy scratch for the Buffalo Bills. And he was a healthy scratch because he was late to a meeting. Mm-hmm. When you're as good as George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, there are certain things that you can do that only get you a series that may get other players entire games. And I'm being real.
No, I smile because I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
you got to be. Your talent has to outweigh your problems. That's the saying.
Extraordinary talent gets you extraordinary tolerance. And when you heard what CeeDee Lamb said, when we play, we do what we do. And this is what we've been expecting and have seen in certain moments from these guys. If you can get this throughout the rest of this season and this defense continues to come along, it's just like you said in commercial, Scott. You give yourself a chance in every single game to be competitive.
Troy was quick to correct me when I said it could be reasonable that they could be a playoff team, and he's right. It's going to take a lot. They got to thread the needle. They don't have any wiggle room. But I don't think it's a stretch to say if this defense is going to continue to grow together, that they're going to be frightening to play against. Do you share that?
But isn't that, that's the point, right? That's where Brian Schottenheimer needs this team to get to. Mm-hmm. People need to be scared to play against the Dallas Cowboys. The Philadelphias, the Los Angeles Rams, those sort of teams need to look at the schedule when the Dallas Cowboys are on there and think to themselves, this is going to be a battle that goes down to the wire. And if you can do that for the rest of the season, that's the type of the level of excitement that you want in your locker room that keeps these guys locked in until the end of the season.
They get a bunch of high-profile home games. They tend to live there around the Thanksgiving time and in the late going in the season. We'll see if it continues to be something where they continue to honor their teammate and channel their best. Go ahead.
Two things before we go. Your leadership as we headed into the show was absolutely amazing. The way you set the tone, the conversations we had off air. But also I want to go to Brian Schottenheimer's leadership. What he did these last few weeks and seemingly caring about the people in his locker room over the players. He didn't see those guys as liabilities. He saw them as players. He didn't see them as assets. He saw them as humans. And that's something that goes into a coach's hat that you cannot teach. That's something that man learned. That's something that he was born with. That's something that who he is. And I think a lot of that goes to his father, Marty Schottenheimer, as well.
I agree. We don't move on, but we move forward. I wrote that down, and I keep leaning on it because I think what a beautiful way to frame something, a loss that is going to not leave them. I appreciate what you had to say, but you know what this is about. Yeah. I mean, games are fun, but people are what matter to all of us, and hopefully we did our job in honoring this young man.